Good evening. Thanks for joining us for our special Learning to Fly, Transforming Houston Students. I'm Melissa Wilson. Tonight, I'll take you inside Monarch School. Its mission is fitting of its name, helping students with learning or neurological differences morph into successful adults. Whether it's autism, ADHD, Tourette syndrome, or a traumatic brain injury, parents say this school is breaking through barriers no one has been able to get through before. Educators at Monarch School off of I-10 near the Beltway seem to be shaping students from the inside out.
The kids that come to us have not been successful in other environments, and so we work with kids in a variety of unique and different ways.
Like pushing or pulling a wagon, this helps develop motor skills, encourages a child to communicate who would typically have a tough time doing that, and even teaches them how to follow directions. Michelle Grugan says she and her family used to rely on a babysitter because outings were too overwhelming for her son Garrett, who has autism. That has changed after he has been at Monarch for only a year.
What I have now at home is a child who just really doesn't have major tantrums anymore, a child who is able to cope with his own anxiety and his ability to recognize that he's getting angry or to recognize that he's starting to feel anxious and start to use those tools that they're teaching him here on how to just kind of use them on his own.
Michelle likes what the school stands for. There's deep meaning behind the name Monarch.
The metamorphosis of the butterfly from the chrysalis is just such a tremendous analogy of the work that we do here. So we begin with a student and we're looking at where is their chrysalis? What is it that is inside them that is going to be transformed? What is it that we can find? Their talents, their strengths. We believe every child has tremendous strengths. It's our job to find them.
Children even get to witness that metamorphosis by observing it on campus. They learn to patiently wait for a butterfly to emerge. Meanwhile, parents witness their children doing something similar. Teachers say they thrive on thinking out of the box here. They treat every child differently in a non-restrictive environment in a way that benefits them in their own unique way.
It's so important that we take the time to observe the child, to read their signals, to discover who they are, to learn how they process, what's comfortable for them, what soothes them, what energizes them, so that we can meet them at that place and develop patterns of interaction.
Students can really feel the difference.
You get to talk about your feelings and stuff like that, and we never did that in my other schools.
Academics and relationships are a priority here.
For many of our students who come to us on the autism spectrum disorder, the relationship aspect is the most difficult aspect for them to grasp and the most difficult principle for them to really practice with daily. And so our teachers and our faculty work together to create a relationship and bond with that child.
Students are grouped by developmental capabilities instead of age.
We found if we were to write down exactly what steps you should follow and what procedures and what rules to think through in any given situation, we've already missed the mark most likely, because every child, every moment, every context is unique, and we have to have this framework in our mind.
As students witness butterflies struggle out of their chrysalis, they learn the monarchs will gain stronger wings and be able to fly. Instructors, moms, and dads hope children will do the same. Many of them do under the caring leadership at Monarch.
No family wakes up one day with their child and says, I want to go to the Monarch School. But when they realize that this is where they need to be, they're so grateful for people who are willing to get to know that individual and all their strengths and really explore how to transform them into a contributing member of the world.
That's when they get to live in a home like this under supervision and even hold down a job. All because someone was able to evoke emotions and open up a whole new world for them they'd never been able to see before. Children diagnosed with a condition like autism often have a hard time emotionally connecting with others. Others have a hard time talking. But instructors at Monarch School have figured out a way to often break through those barriers with groundbreaking therapy. Meeting and working with Sharon Duvall is one of the first places children come at Monarch. She helps spark emotions that open up the world of communication and prepares a child to learn. She has a clever way of doing that through nonverbal conversations. Simple things like a smile or pointing and using gestures. Through play like this, Sharon is able to find out who they are, sometimes before their parents can.
Was a mom saying that she even questioned whether her child loved her. So that when the child reached out to hug her for the first time and looked into her eyes, she just started crying. And that's what happens.
Sharon is able to help a child verbally communicate, problem solve, and experience a range of emotions. Many of us know someone affected by autism. When we come back, how Monarch School is changing lives of those students and their families. Locked inside. That's how many parents describe their child who has autism. It's difficult to function in society unless you can self-regulate, be able to handle what's bothering you, and then deal with those emotions. 1 out of 68 children is diagnosed with autism. Many more than that have some type of neurological difference. Many parents say they finally have hope for their children because of a unique approach at Monarch School in Houston. Moments like this are seldom planned at Monarch School. When students need a break from the classroom, spontaneous situations just seem to happen. It helps students calm down outside the classroom and inside as well.
When I'm teaching, I work for a group called Writers in the Schools.
Educators at Monarch have learned that getting through to students emotionally opens their minds academically.
We start off in the morning greeting the students at carpool so that when they first come in, there's several of us to say good morning and start the day off positive. Oftentimes I have a student that I take into my office first thing in the morning just as a check-in. Sometimes they've had a challenging morning or evening at home, and it just helps them to be able to talk to someone right when they come in before they transition into the classroom with all the demands of that.
Into Doug! Sammy, where's that dog? Dude. Oh my goodness.
Children in the Chrysalis program at Monarch are learning to become more independent. They often work one-on-one or in very small groups with their teachers.
Ooh, good job. You take a deep breath.
Fox 26 reporter Greg Gruken's son Garrett is a student here. He and his wife Michelle say Monarch is helping him excel.
Monarch has basically unlocked his world. I mean, Garrett before Monarch to what Garrett is now, it's like, it's a world that he's never been able to access.
After only 1 year, Garrett has learned how to connect with others for the first time. His family says he now wants to communicate with others. Before, he relied on electronics to help him cope.
The world is not a big, scary place for him anymore. He's actually realizing, I have a place here, and I know how now to kind of use some of these things.
Instructors at Monarch do focus on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But Michelle says they do so much more, something she, as a loving mom, wasn't even able to do.
At some point, I don't care anymore about my son learning how to divide fractions or conjugate verbs or use conjunctions in the appropriate way. I mean, you know, I see the importance of learning these coping skills because life is going to continue for him, and there's you know, employment to think about and independent living to think about, and what Monarch is able to give him right now are those exact things. How are you going to handle yourself when the situation's getting a little stressful? And, you know, before he would just explode and just run away. Well, you know, that's not really going to help you to have any kind of independence in your life.
Michelle says Garrett didn't know how to tap into his hoping skills before. Now, through new techniques he learns at Monarch, he can. Andrea Chambliss feels the same way. She and her family moved all the way from California for her son, Nate. They felt he would have the best outcome through medical care and schooling in Houston.
At age 3, we were told that he may never speak and that he might need a device to help him speak. But fortunately, through good therapists, he talks a lot now.
What a blessing.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes.
Nate has beat the odds and is able to communicate verbally and non-verbally. What is your favorite thing to do outside of school when you're not here? What do you like to do?
Play and hang around.
What do you like to play?
And my toys.
These are the years when we have a chance to make a difference for him, and I can't imagine not doing it.
I don't know if he'll ever live in his own apartment or go off to college, but we're gonna try, and he's gonna have that opportunity.
I don't think there are really any limits. I mean, I hope there aren't any limits.
Nate often shares his emotions now, even sneaks in a kiss for Mom, who deeply believes in him, who makes personal and financial sacrifices for him, just like so many other parents with children at Monarch. Having a learning or developmental disability can make it tough to fit in. How a Monarch program is working to change that. When Learning to Fly, Transforming Houston Students continues. The numbers are startling. About 1 in 6 children in the U.S. has a developmental disability. This ranges from a mild delay like speech and language impairment to more severe cases like cerebral palsy and autism. Many of these children feel isolated in the classroom, but Monarch School in Houston is offering them a chance they've never gotten before. Misunderstood.
I spent my freshman year in public school, and it wasn't very nice.
Bullied.
I've had a lot of experiences with bullying. I have mental limits, and but when I came here, I had a fantastic first year.
Constantly in trouble.
It wasn't really good for me because I misbehaved in a lot of schools, and it was hard for me to focus in school.
Josephine has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, which makes it hard for her to concentrate.
Yeah, I was frustrated, and I didn't learn anything. It was hard because it was not fair to me.
Josephine says that's why her parents transferred her to Monarch School. Here, students even spend class time learning the importance of inclusion, a place where everyone belongs. Educators at Monarch concentrate on helping students who have a tough time in a typical classroom.
So some of the differences that we serve are primarily children who come to us on the autism spectrum disorder. However, we also serve a great number of students with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD. We work with children who have traumatic brain injury, Tourette's syndrome, anxiety, mood disorders, pervasive developmental delays as well.
They vary in age from 12 to 20 years old and are separated by capability versus how old they are. Logan says all of his teachers spent time getting to know him, learning how to teach him.
Once they know you, begin to know you, the school immediately starts finding what's your strong points and what your weak points are, and they mostly exercise your strong points and also try their best to strengthen and exercise your weak point.
They work on the academics too, and Logan is thriving because of it.
I've been currently studying functions, and I've studied polynomials, and I have a fantastic vocabulary. I could say words like megalomaniacal.
That's hard.
It is.
Over our heads, what a testimony of how far Logan has come, all because other students treat him fairly and teachers took the time to figure out how to help him. Other students echo the same thoughts.
I feel happy when I'm here.
Just a small taste of magic at Monarch. What happens when they grow up? That's what many parents wonder when they have a child with autism. Educators at Monarch are trying to ease minds by teaching students skills they can use to pave their way toward a positive future.
Those toe shoes, yes.
Students at Monarch School in Houston learn life skills in non-traditional ways.
It's a big comfort to these families to know that their futures look somewhat promising, much more so than ever before. So it's very exciting.
From gardening when they're young,
Down. Nice.
to learning how to make jewelry when they get older.
What are you doing here that's going to help you get a job later?
To listen and get learned.
Tedious techniques that take time and practice.
We finished one example for you, and then now we're going to make it ready for sale.
Students may not even realize they're brushing up on academics like math, engineering, English, art, even science in their woodworks class.
You know, I'm treating them as if we were entrepreneurs together. Firm grip on that. There you go, like that.
Students build products under close supervision.
I'm here to set these guys up for success. All right. And that's what she looks like when she's done.
Opportunities like this give students a better chance of getting a job and being more independent.
That's beautiful. You did so good.
They also learn how to run a full culinary kitchen. Students say they enjoy preparing and delivering lunches around school. They sell many of their handmade products at the Life Academy store on campus. Everything from jewelry to cutting boards. They get to help run the store, too.
They've created a community for themselves, and they have friendships, and they have people that care about them. So there is, it's a feeling of pride and a feeling of that they belong, and that's what contributes to that self-esteem.
It worked for Adam.
Monarch has taught me confidence. I'm really good at confidence.
Now, like many of these students, Adam has a job working at Walmart through a partnership with the school.
Love it there. It's a wonderful program, wonderful store.
Many others work at Starbucks. Chapelwood United Methodist Church welcomes many of the students with open arms, giving them a chance to use the lessons they've learned at Monarch. Local law firms are giving them a chance. Other companies like H-E-B are welcoming these young adults to work in their stores.
Often we have parents come to us and they feel that there's really not much hope, and they're thinking that their child might hit a certain plateau, and that might be as far as an individual will get. Well, at Monarch we don't see it like that. We're working continuously in every area of where they attend in this full campus. We're working towards helping the individual have self-actualization, that they understand who they are, they're part of a community, they have a contribution to the community.
From just academic growth, the social growth, the emotional growth, they really just grow as overall as a person. So that's fabulous to see how they come in timid, you know, just broken from the other environments that they've been in, to feeling safe and comfortable to expand themselves and grow, not only just academically, but as a person as well.
It's wonderful to watch these individuals emerge into an adult with contributing efforts to the community.
Our special Learning to Fly, Transforming Houston Students continues after the break. Ahead, how students at Monarch are learning to live on their own. Children with a learning or neurological difference often do okay in the comforts of home with their parents watching over them. The big question is, what happens when they reach their 20s and 30s and beyond? A transitional program at Monarch School in Houston offers them housing with a life coach to make sure they have everything they need. They even get to make a big transition away from their parents into homes just down the street from their school. 3 or 4 students live in each house.
Some of the learners, when they first arrived, didn't know how to sweep or make their bed or do laundry. And now some of the same ones will just be the first ones to go and grab the broom and start sweeping without any prompting or any tips on how to do it.
They also get to enjoy fun activities like school soirees, festivals, professional sporting events, and movie nights. The young adults tell us they feel independent for the first time in their lives, and many of them are now in their 30s. Tuition at Monarch is high, ranging from $19,000 to $49,000. That's about mid-range for therapeutic schools nationwide and in other states. It's state funds, not private tuition, that supports those schools. Monarch's tuition is also about mid-range for what it costs a local school district to educate a child with autism.
We all will do whatever we need to do for our kids, but Monarch is really committed to try and find ways that we can lower that tuition and offer parents scholarships and funding.
That varies from fundraising efforts to individual donations and foundations. Deborah says parents don't get mad about the expense because they know what it takes to work with these children. She says it does sometimes make them sad because it's so expensive, but each of them tells me it was so worth that expense. Thanks for joining us for our special Learning to Fly, Transforming Houston Students. Have a great night.
This newscast brought to you by Carpet Giant.